Hi, welcome to my Informs email tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about landing pages using interests. I'm Amber, the CEO of Email Maven. Let's dive in and figure out how to build this. So it's critical to provide your members email preferences so they have options of opting out or opting into things that they are interested in receiving. In this case today we're going to be talking about opt-outs on your email preference page. Before we get started, make sure you know the difference between utilizing interests or message categories, what email preferences you're going to offer, you need language for your landing page, and you need a simple email banner for the top of the page. So let's talk about each of those a little bit more. In this video we're talking about interests, using interests for email preference options. Now, this is great for anyone who has audiences that are a little bit complicated and they could potentially need to opt out multiple categories per email sent. Message categories are better for those who don't, where their data is pretty clean and they're just using one opt-out at a time. We prefer message categories as a whole, but there's still a place for these interests email preferences as well. Next, you're going to want to make sure you know what your email preferences are that you're going to provide. We recommend that you do buckets of options, meaning you don't want to list out every single email that you send them. Rather, we want to categorize things such as on-demand learning and webinars, or awards, or your annual conference, or specific learning options. You also want to list out individual newsletters. Then from there, once you know what they are, we're going to document them, then we can start building our landing page. You also need to know what your landing page language is going to be. We are providing some examples of what a landing page option could be here, but you tailor it to whatever your organization feels is right to tell your members how they can opt in or opt out of the information. Next, you just need a basic email banner. A lot of times this is just your foundational association banner with your logo on it, just so we can put something on the top of the page so people know that they're in the right spot. So, once you have all that information, then let's dive in and get building. So the first thing we need to do is actually create the interest groups to add them to the landing page. So to do that, you're going to go over to Contacts, Groups, and then Create. This is a spot where you're going to want to create your interests. So create and then select interests. Now we're going to name them. I like to have a universal naming convention so people are very clear about what they're selecting. In this case, it's going to say opt out, and I'm going to say partner offers is a category. Now, I also recommend putting these in a folder that's separate from your regular interests. So you can click edit here and then add a new folder right here. I already made mine. I like to say opt out categories. So again, very clear that whoever sees it, they knows what we're doing. Once you've done that, you can select your category and then you're good to go. I don't put a description in here because I don't think it's necessary. If you do though, you want to make sure no one is confused at all. This is the place to put it. Alright, now I'm going to go to my folder. I've already put in a few others. I have 4 different opt-outs here. Typically we see anywhere between 5 to 8 different opt-outs. Do whatever is best for your association. Once they are all built in here, then we can move over to the landing page. So come on your left-hand navigation and select landing pages. Then we're going to just click create. Since we don't have one, and there is not a base one, we're going to select this first form template. I like this one because you can add any of the colors, you can change everything to it. I like a fresh basic start, so this is the one we'll be selecting today. Now, whenever you work with the landing page, the first thing you want to do before you start designing is move out the side and bottom windows. This just makes your life easier when you're trying to move around content, which we're going to be doing today. So this is the base information they provide you. I know at the top I'm going to want a banner, and then I'm going to change out my language, and then I need to insert my interest categories. So I need to move this on down, because you can't have things stacking upon themselves. You're going to keep the email and the save here. And then I'm going to move this down a bit. Might need to move that again. So I can get, first off, a banner here at the top. So right now, what you're going to do is you're going to go over to your right-hand navigation, and you're going to select Items. This gives you a number of options for things you can add to the page. In this case, I want images because I'm going to put in my banner. It's going to open up your asset manager. Here's my banner right here. Boop. You can change the size of this. You can even just put your logo. You can do whatever you feel fit. You can also just drag and drop and make it smaller in here. But again, what you need to make sure is you have enough space at the top to drag it up. If you don't, it will just pop it back down. So see, I don't have enough space. So I need to move these boxes down a little bit more to get it in there. Alright. That's the banner I'm going to use. I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller. Okay, now language-wise. Again, this is a recommendation of what we like to use. I'm going to pull up my Word document. We like to be very positive. Let's get you the emails you want. Let's customize your email preferences by selecting the type of emails you no longer want to receive. And then we list them out, and then we give people the option to full unsubscribe here as well. So I'm going to pull this as the headline. And I like to pull this up pretty close. These white spaces in between become pretty noticeable when you get to the end. So I like things to be a little bit tighter here. Next up, customize your email preferences. Okay, and again, you could move this box out or keep it in, whatever you feel best based on your language. Move this guy down. Now it's time to add in our categories. These are interests here. So next we're going to go again to the right hand side and find interests. Now this is why it's really helpful when you named them the same thing, because if you just type opt, you're going to get all your opt-outs in one place. You're going to want to select these in the order you want them on the page. You can move them later, but it makes it a lot easier if you just select them in the order you want. So let's just say I want my webinars first. I want my weekly newsletter. I want my awards and my partner offers. Is that everything? Yes, that's all I have right now. Ooh, lost one. Alright, then you're going to click Add to Page. So what this does is easily just provide you little checkboxes. Now from here, I'm going to again scoot this up. You can change this heading. So again, I would like to no longer receive the following topics. Then you can change the language on here for the interest groups. What's important is just, again, making sure that the average person seeing this knows what they're getting out of, and that translates exactly to what staff know they should exclude from an email. So in this case, I'm going to say webinars and on-demand learning, the weekly newsletter. I think those are pretty clear. I'm going to elaborate on this one though. Awards, program, and nominations. Let's say I have a large one. And then I'm going to leave partner offers as such. Okay, again, modify those boxes as you feel fit. I'm going to move everyone up a little bit. Now this email box, if someone clicks through a sent email that you sent to them, to this email preference page, their email should automatically populate. If they have any type of tracking turned off, or if the email was forwarded to them, they won't. They'll have to type in their email, but we have to know who they are for it to work. Okay, I'm also going to change the style. So you can see that some of this text is a little bit small. These colors can change. The button can change colors. So let's do some styling. Go ahead again to your right hand side to style. And then you can go through each of these drop downs and make changes. So I'm going to leave my background image the same. I'm going to leave my layout area the same. I am going to change. I actually like all my headers. I'm going to change. I'm going to change the secondary header to be black. I just like a good dark color. And then we're good with these. Change that to black as well. And I'm going to, in this case, I'm not using hyperlink anywhere, so I don't need to do that. Now, some people put on the bottom of this, like, have any questions, contact us at, membership, etc. Change your hyperlink color here. Alright, we're going to move to the next one. Input fields. This is not one we need to do here because we don't have any input fields. What we do have are checkbox fields. That's what these are, right? They're little checkboxes. So I like these all to be black again, and you can make these heading fonts a little bit bigger as well. I like to change them all to black. Then I'm going to change my heading font up to 16, and I want my text on the styling to be 14. There we go. This is the font you want. This is your header font. Since we're doing interest, this is the box you need to play with. Not this one. This is for message categories. Alright, let's keep going. I'm going to also change out my button color. Since I'm using a lot of my dark greens, I'm going to utilize my lighter teal color just to give some variety here. And to make sure that color contrast is high enough on that button, I'm going to switch that to the black text. I like this font size. I like everything else here. And then that is it. Now that you've kind of changed your sizes, there's some things you might want to adjust again. So I'm going to pull out this box a little bit. And so then I can also pull out this box. Alright, that's good. If you ever need to, you can also drag and drop these. You can also change out your interest. So let's say you saw this and you were like, dang it, what am I doing? These are the interests you're using, and I'm going to leave this setting as they're not checked by default. Alright, so this is looking pretty good. I'm going to pull this side back in, pull the bottom. That's in a good spot. Now, you're going to want to save this, name it, email, preferences, landing page. Your file name is the URL. So whatever you want the URL to be, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to keep mine in my email preference folder, and my description is just a copy of my title. Same thing. Alright, so that's been saved. Now, I'm going to move over to mobile. So one of the challenges with mobile is it doesn't actually pull exactly what you did on the one and pull it over. It still is a little bit jumbled. All your colors have stayed the same, but nothing's quite in the right spot. So again, open this landing page up, and then we're going to move everyone around. So I want my save button down here. I'm just going to move this over here to make it easier. I need my email down there. goes to my save button. And I'm going to want this down here and this down here. I'm going to pull this banner in quite a bit since this is going to be a mobile view. Move everything up into their respective places. Boop. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to pull this side back in and save. Now the next important part is, what's your process? When someone is done filling this out, where do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to a thank you landing page that you've created, or do you want them to go to your website, or do you want them to go somewhere else? You can also just put them into nowhere. I don't recommend that. In this case, I would recommend either sending them back to your homepage of your website, or you can make a basic thank you landing page that you can then use over and over again. So you could just say, thank you for your submission. In my case, I'm going to do email Maven, just so people go there. Then we're going to test our landing page. So going to the activation tab, you can go to test landing page. You can see where everything is, if we got the right fonts. This is where you're going to notice those gaps. If you have closed up those boxes, these white gaps feel very large. As a whole, I'm happy with this. Don't have any major concerns. You can test your mobile. If you want to embed this somewhere, you can get your iframe code, get the URL, put it wherever you need to be. Alright, then from that, I am going to click Activate Landing Page. Now your page is going to come up on the Active tab, which is great. And then when you're in your email, anytime you build an email, you're going to want to make sure that you are properly attaching this landing page specifically to your template, and when you're going to send an email, that you're selecting those opt-out interests as an exclude every time you send an email. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and please like and subscribe and watch out for more of our tutorials.